Hey everyone, welcome back to the Broker to Broker Real Estate Podcast. I'm Nathan Daniel, your host. And today I'm actually going to be talking to a broker friend of mine. And we're going to be talking about being there for your agents. And what does that mean as a broker in today's world? So you ready? Here we go. Hi, and welcome to the Broker to Broker Real Estate Podcast, where we are on a mission to interview successful real estate brokers and industry leaders so we can learn what's working and peel back our industry so we can all learn together. I'm your host, Nathan Daniel, and welcome to the show. All right. Well, welcome, everybody. Today on our show, we have Benjamin Floyd from 525 Realty here in my backyard, which is in Oklahoma. So, and Ben, you're in Edmond, right?
We are right. Central Edmond.
Right in Central Edmond. Well, thank you for first and foremost for coming on the show. I'm excited to have you here today and talking about this topic of showing up and being there for your agents. Really quick, tell everybody who you are, how long you've been in real estate, your path to becoming a broker, and then we'll get right into it.
So we are. Well, I've been doing this about almost 21 years now. We started with kind of large national chain company in 2015. We branched out and opened 525 Realty Group, which kind of started just me and my business partner at the time. Now we are about 30 or so strong, always trying to pull a little more of the market share than we currently have, no matter where we're at. So
yeah, absolutely. And I remember y'all branching out and actually opening 525 and starting that journey and going through that process and everything. So one, congratulations for hopping out and doing that, and really just starting your journey. So that's the first step, isn't it?
Always that first step. If you don't take the first step to any journey, you're not going anywhere, right?
Yeah,
where you're at. So
that's exactly right. And sometimes it can be the hardest. And once you get over it, it's continual steps from there. But typically I've seen the first step is always the hardest. So congrats on doing that. And let's get right into it. So you mentioned you've been in real estate for a while, and specifically today, like one thing that, as we were talking before, showing up for your agents, like y'all do that at a really high level. Can we start talking about that?
Yeah. And so depending on how many we've got, like at some point I'm going to probably have to get somebody that will help in the role that we're doing, but that's okay. Kind of the mindset that we took with this and what we had noticed from some of the other brokers that were out there, not to talk anything bad about them, because everybody's got their place. Everybody's got a reason that they do things the way they do them, that sort of thing. What we noticed is anytime that we really, really needed help, it was 2-3 days to get a call back, or we were kind of put at the bottom burner, or whatever the case was. So when we left where we were at and opened 525, I wanted to be there as much as possible for any of my agents that needed help, because no matter what's going on with them at that point, if I'm getting a call, even at 11 o'clock at night, it's the most important thing going on in their life right now, or they wouldn't be on the phone with me. You know what I mean? Like they're asleep, or it's something that's important. Something needs to be taken care of. Somebody needs to be calmed down. Somebody needs to be walked through something. So if we can be there for the agents in that capacity, we want to be there. But that even goes down to part of, now I know not everybody's going to agree with this, and to each maybe area their own, to each region their own. Everybody's got different laws in the way they handle things like repairs, inspections, and that sort of thing. But not too long ago, about a week ago, had an agent who had accidentally double booked herself and called and needed help getting to one of her inspections. So between myself, my son is also licensed, and we've got another licensee that's part of my direct team. We shuffled around what we had going that day, and we're able to go be there for that inspection. Now, I do require all my agents be there for every inspection every time, if not have somebody there in their place. So again, that's going to differ per region, per state, per area, but that's something that we make it a practice of. And if my agents can't make it, it's something that we will do. Had an agent, this has been about 3 weeks ago, was his first new construction deal, and not a very easy one. The agent on the other side was also the broker, so we had nowhere to go with the kind of lack of communication that we had felt on that side. That broker had been dealing with that builder for a very long time. They had a very good working relationship together, but anytime there was an issue and we had a question, it really ended up just send us a release and we'll sell it to somebody else. Well, that's not what we want to do, right? We want to make everybody happy. We want to push forward, but we need answers on this stuff. And so I stood by his side through from the inspection period on through final walkthrough to make sure that everybody was happy with that and we're able to move forward. Not that I'm the end all be all, but experience trumps, somebody that just hasn't been there and doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Doesn't know what to say. Classroom can't train real life experience. So
yeah, absolutely. And so many times, I mean, our agents lean on their broker to be that experience, right? To be that backing, because when they join us, they're also getting our experience as well. I always go back to those law firms and companies that are like, oh yeah, like such and such with like 15 last names, and they're like, we have 300 years experience. Like, really? Like, you're all like 34. Like, how does that work?
Right.
Something like that. But they're leaning on the experience of the broker and our knowledge in the industry. So,
right.
So you're stepping up and actually helping and inserting yourself to make sure that one, your agent is successful in that transaction and they're learning along the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really cool. So as far as like this year, right, we're going into 2020, and this is the reason this whole podcast has been created is our industry is changing in some areas and it's not in others. Some places it's doing really, really well, and some places it's really, really not. So I just want to know, like, what do you find that 2020 is bringing for you and 525 Realty?
Honestly, I try to look at everything with a positive attitude as much as possible. It's been a strange year. It's definitely been a strange year. But I think what it's realized to me, so for instance, we try to teach class about every weekend, every Saturday, and now with this COVID thing, it's been hit or miss, and it's been trying to get a hold of it. But the classes that we had that we'd have 5 or 6 agents show up to, when we do them via electronically, we may not have quite the interaction, but we see more people log in. We may have 10 to 15 log in versus 5 or 6 showing up. So, things like that have been good. Virtual showings have kind of taken off. It's been different, and I don't know if it's a good different with closings and that sort of thing. We've seen more of those where the agent is required to stay outside. Mm-hmm. But we're also supposed to be there in the best interest and to protect our clients. And how can we do that from the car outside? We had a deal in Stillwater, Oklahoma, which is it's a college town here north of where I'm at, about 45 minutes. And I've got agents in Stillwater, Tulsa, Shawnee, and greater Oklahoma City area currently. So this is up about 45 minutes north of us. We weren't allowed in. Standard of practice up there for them as a whole is not to do like mortgage inspection surveys, which is okay, I guess, as long as everybody knows. But we weren't told that one wasn't being done, even though it was contractually supposed to be done. So it wasn't until I got all the paperwork back to the office and started going through everything that we realized that hadn't been done. We call the title company, and they say, sorry, that's not something that we normally do. We do it to keep our costs down. I said, well, it's contractual, so it needs to be done. They went ahead and honored as if they had done one, so anything that pops up will be covered for them. But stuff like that I would have caught there at the table, wasn't able to catch until we were back at the office. So that's been a little difficult, kind of trial and tribulation to get over with that. But again, overall, I think we're going to continue on through just like we've always done. Yeah. I think the internet will prove to be the largest shopping area for real estate into the future, which it already has been. Those of us that are in these smaller cities, if you will, not the Chicagos, New Yorks, where it takes you 45 minutes to an hour to get from house to house, where, we can go see 15 houses in a day, just loading up in the car. Now we want to preview all those to make sure we don't have any junk and that sort of thing up front. They've been doing that for years in the larger cities. So that's been, I think, a good change for our environment in this area.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like, going back to recap what I heard from you there, one, with your education that you were doing live, there's 4, 5, 6, 10 people at one of those, where all of a sudden you've gone virtual and now you actually have more engagement. Maybe it's not back and forth as much interaction wise, but at least they're showing up online to get educated, and you're getting some FaceTime with them.
Right. And that's I think a much better scenario than not having them there at all. Even if they've got the screen blacked out, you hope that they're not just there to show that they've got their name up and they're actually listening to what's going on. But at least there's some interaction on that side of it for sure.
Yeah, and they had to take the time, even if they did do that, and they're like, "Oh, I'm doing chores around the house," and as I walk by doing whatever, like I'll hear something. They even had to take the time to actually log on, right? And so they took a minute to like, okay, yeah, I'm checking into this class in some capacity, so that's cool. And then I heard also, really, if I could phrase it up in one word, being very adaptable today. Like whether it's the Stillwater situation, whether it's showing up for an agent, whether it's technology and implementing that for your agents to be visible and continue your training that you're doing. I think adaptable is what I heard.
And that's the key to anything. Change is tough. Growth hurts. Change is inevitable, though. It's got to happen. Either we stay stagnant and we die, or we continue to grow and move and figure out how to make the new environment work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know we've talked about kind of the growth of your company and where you desire to go with that and everything. So what do you think the next step is for you as far as starting that process, whether it's having conversations with agents? Is it upping the training? Where do you feel like that is in today's world with agents? What's your plan there?
And that has changed pretty tremendously over the years, especially within the last 6-8 months. We are still meeting people on a regular basis in office. Come in, sit down, maybe not quite handshake, but
socially distant with the mask, maybe not.
Unless somebody if somebody says, "Hey, will you please put a mask on?" We will. I know you just told me, and hopefully you're okay with me sharing this, but you just fought through COVID with the family.
Yeah.
I'm one of those that, shame on me, I guess, or whatever. But at some point, I think everybody's going to end up getting this. It's just a matter of time. And we're, wash hands and that sort of thing. But I'm not 100% sure that the mask is going to stop me not sick from not getting somebody else sick, So
yeah.
If I get it, I will stay home. We did have a case of it in our office, and we quarantined the office for 2 weeks.
Yeah. The way I describe it to people with this, after talking to doctors and going through the whole thing, I describe it as your whole body's covered in pollen, right? Like, we have bad allergies here and stuff in Oklahoma, and it's seasonal, but like that pollen, when it brushes off, like it lands on everything. It gets just everything covered in pollen. Well, the difference is, it's like when you brush off the pollen, it fluffs off and it goes away. However, COVID doesn't do that, right? COVID is like, it sticks and continues to brush off anywhere you go. And so, yeah, I agree with you. I think there's going to be a continued pattern of this over time. So, it's just a matter of being safe and playing cautious, right?
We're going to have to learn to live with this, and keeping everybody indoors nonstop forever isn't realistic.
No.
It's not, and people are going to get tired of it. People are going to be out and about and do their thing. We got back from Mexico about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And the precautions that they're taking there are actually kind of laughable in a lot of ways, but more so than we're even taking here. So,
Yeah.
if somebody says, "Hey, put a mask on," I'll put a mask on. It is what it is. I prefer not to. So,
Yeah.
especially in the Oklahoma heat, it's,
Yeah, brutal, and it's been super humid lately. Well, so as far as like your dedication to success, helping agents grow, being adaptable for them, and continuing to help them, and just really being a partner in their business, as far as like the trends, are you seeing any trends right now that helping agents really stay in production or gear up? Anything like that?
we haven't really changed a whole lot of what we do. As far as the old tried and true, continue making phone calls, continue touching base, use FaceTime instead of your phone, to have more of a face-to-face type conversation with people. Don't text, that sort of thing. Continued again meeting, trying to mentor, if you will. Actually, speaking of mentor, I'm going to turn you around here real quick and introduce you to a young gentleman by the name of Roberto. He just graduated from high school with us, from high school here in Oklahoma City. He has taken his classes for real estate and will be scheduled to take his test here shortly. But he's been shadowing me off and on for about a week or so. So I'm going to turn you around and say hi to Roberto.
Hey, Roberto, how are you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
Hey, doing good. Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to put you on the spot. Can I do that, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you're just graduating high school, and congrats on joining 525, by the way. So how are you feeling about this? Like with everything that's going on, like where's your energy at, and what's your first step to taking action and launching your business?
Well, I'm excited about joining real estate, and I just been shadowing Ben, and as he has said, not many real estate agents really give their all. Like they take 2 days to call, and I just want to do the opposite. I want to be there whenever the clients need me.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, again, welcome to 525. Congratulations on getting started and passing your test and everything. So go crush it. All right.
Okay, thank you.
So I also, just to let you know a little bit more about him, we're having a conversation in the car the other day, and I said, so what do you do in your spare time? Do you play video games? Do you watch TV? Typical things that an 18-year-old is going to do. And he said, I try to sit down and read an hour a day. And I said, okay. I said, what do you read? And he said stuff like Grant Cardone or Robert Kiyosaki. And I'm going, 18 years old, like mind blown, right? So, it's just super, super important to keep a good attitude no matter what's going on.
That's cool. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do, Ben. I'm actually gonna send him one of my books. All right, I'm gonna send it to you, and if you'll make sure he gets this, I'm gonna send him books. Okay.
Sure will.
So that's cool. Well, I'm excited. So, and that's cool too that you're taking him out and you're letting him shadow you and stuff, because I mean there's a lot of that needs to happen today.
To make a better agent, we really do, and something that I go over with a lot of in class and that sort of thing is as a whole, I think our industry has become order takers versus salespeople, and nobody wants to be a pushy salesman. Nobody wants to, but you can be very successful and not the pushy salesman. But being the order taker keeps you in a place where you're not going to be successful forever. You're going to hit or miss on stuff that you could have gotten done and moved on to the next one on a regular basis. So that's kind of something that we teach on a regular basis.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So as far as if you were going to give a piece of advice, right, whether it's to a broker who's struggling right now, because it's about all of us learning together and helping each other grow as an industry, whether professionalism, whatever it is. Like, what piece of advice, whether it's to a struggling broker or even a brand new broker just getting started, what piece of advice would you give to them?
Pick up your phone.
Pick up your phone. Okay.
Well, I'm sure you've heard me say that before, but the number one complaint, you can go on to lab coat agents, any of your local real estate sites, so on and so forth. The number one complaint is I can't get a call back from a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
How much better as an industry could we be, and how much more would you get done if we just called people back in a timely fashion? If we picked up the phone when they called, look, I know you can't do it all the time, but I'd say 99% of the time I'm calling you back within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Continue to learn, continue to grow no matter where you're at. Push past whatever's keeping you down. And I know that sounds super easy to say and super raw with not a lot of backing, but everybody's in a different spot. So if that means I need to recruit more people, all of our sales, the people that are here are doing really well. I need to recruit more people. So what does that mean? Do I need to get in front of more people? Do I need to set the times and the appointments to make that happen? Do I need to offer incentives to my associates to have them help recruit? What needs to happen to make that happen? Mm-hmm. Is my building too small? Is my building too big? Whatever that is, move in the direction to make it happen. We're stepping out on a limb within the next, hopefully within the next month, we should break ground, but we're looking at building a 5,000 square foot complex to house realtors along with a training facility, about a 1,200 square foot training facility for realtors. So always be pushing and looking for that next break, that next whatever it is. If you've got the direction, you've got the willingness and the wanting to go there, the best thing you can do is point yourself in that direction and start moving. Yeah. Even if you don't quite hit it, you're going to be further towards your goal than you were last week.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. That's great advice. I appreciate that, Ben. Well, thank you so much for hopping on the show today. Is there anything else? Is there anything other piece of advice, like last chance to say, to an industry?
Continue making yourself better. No matter what you're doing. We were talking about books just a minute ago. Let me get this one out. So he's not my end all be all. There's a ton of guys out there. And honestly, I think this guy's probably a little over the top half the time. But, that's what I've got in my briefcase right now, right? Yep. So that's the one I'm on. We finished whatever it is. I've got a book that I hand to most of my realtors, especially if they're interested in doing any kind of international sales, how to deal with people from different countries. Whatever you want to specialize in. There's a book out there for it. Pick it up, read it. If you're doing it to better yourself, it's just going to better you. Where's another one?
Yeah. And while he's grabbing the other one, if you're listening to the audio, he actually held up Grant Cardone's The Closer. So that's good stuff. Another one, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yeah, that's a great one. Just
across the board, no matter where you're at, always try to better yourself. Learn everything you can about doing it. I went and got my license to do inspections just so I knew what the inspector was looking for on that side. And I've kept it up, but I don't do inspections. Just have it so we know what's going on when we go out.
Educating yourself as an industry evolves. There you go. Awesome. Exactly. Well, everybody, Ben, thank you so much for being on here. Again, we've been talking to Benjamin Floyd with 525 Realty in Edmond, Oklahoma. So again, thank you so much, Ben, for being on the show.
Thank you, Nathan. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for listening to the Broker to Broker Real Estate Podcast. To check out past episodes, tools, and resources, visit brokertobrokerpodcast.com. And always remember, be you and be real.